In this exercise, we're going to take a look at a few of the selection tools. In the first grouping of selection tools, you have the Rectangular Marquee Tool, Elliptical Marquee Tool, Single Row, and Single Column Marquee Tools. In the next grouping, you have the Lasso Tool, the Polygonal Lasso Tool, and the Magnetic Lasso Tool. In the third grouping, you have the Quick Selection Tool and the Magic Wand Tool, which we'll cover in the next video. Let's start with the Selection Tool. The Selection Tool for the Rectangular Marquee and the Elliptical Marquee work pretty much the same. The difference is the shape. So I'm going to start with the Elliptical Marquee Tool. On my black canvas here, I'm going to hold down my mouse and just start to drag. As I drag right and as I drag down, you'll see that my initial point of clicking, the upper left-hand corner, remains stationary. If I want to constrain my selection, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and it constrains this ellipse to a perfect circle. If I want to drag from the center instead of the stationary point of the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to hold down the Option key, and then it drags from the center. Now I want to move this marquee from this location. If I want to move it while I'm creating the marquee, I can hold down the space bar, and I still have the Option key held down. But now that I've added the space bar, I can actually slide this selection to a different location. When I release the space bar, I can continue with my drag. So here I still have the Option key held down, and now I have the Shift key held down again. So I have my perfect circle. I'm going to let go of my mouse and then let go of the keys. Now, if I still want to transform this selection, I can go to the Select menu and I can choose Transform Selection, and it will give me a bounding box, and I can pull on any one of these handles and push to reshape this selection. To set this transformation, I can click on the check mark in the upper options bar, or I can double click inside of the selection, or I can press return on my keyboard. Let's double click, and that sets that transition. Now notice this. If my cursor is placed outside of the selection, I get the selection cursor. If my cursor is placed inside, I get another selection cursor that's indicating that I can actually relocate this cursor. So if I need to nudge it over a little bit, this is how I do it. I place my cursor inside. Now also up in the options bar, you have icons that allow you to add to your selection, subtract from your selection, and intersect the selection area. So let's take a look at the Add icon. So with the add icon selected, notice that my cursor has a little plus sign in the lower right hand corner. So if I drag and create a new selection, it now becomes part of the original selection. So this is just how you can use the selection tools when you're selecting an area on your image to manipulate. In Photoshop, you have to select an area with either selection tool you choose in order to manipulate, enhance, or edit that area. So let's take a look at the other part of my screen here. Over on the right hand side, I have a picture of a fruit. I want to take the grape in this left stack, and I want to add another grape to it. So again, there are other selection tools that I can use, but I'm just going to show you how to work with the Elliptical Marquee Tool. So I want to first click on this file to activate it, and I have my tool here, and I'm just going to hold down my mouse and drag a selection out. Now it's not perfect. What I want to do is just get in the ballpark. So here I want to transform the selection. Select menu, transform selection, and that allows me to pull the selection up a little bit to match the shape of the grape, pull it down to try to match that area at the bottom of the grape, the shape, and I need to rotate this a bit. So I'm going to rotate it slightly and then pull it down a little more and rotate it a little more, and I can nudge it over with my arrow keys to see if I got everything I need. And let me pull that down just a little bit more. Oops, too far. And out. Alright, so let's say that I'm working with this shape. I'm going to double click inside to set that transition or transformation. Now I'm going to choose the Move tool, and I want to add another grape. I have the Move tool selected. If I just move it, I get that. That's not what I want. So let's undo. Oops. Let's undo. And I am going to hold down the Option key, and you'll see your cursor change to a double-sided arrow or a double arrow. And now I can move with my Move tool. Move this selection, and you'll see it's duplicating the grape. So now I'm going to place it there and turn off my selection, and I've duplicated my grape. I'm going to choose the Magnetic Lasso Tool. Now, depending on what you're doing, a different selection tool may work better for you. So just knowing that the tools are there and what they do will be very helpful to you. I'm going to start with this Magnetic Lasso Tool. I'm going to select this pineapple shape with the cantaloupe on the inside. So I'm going to start here in the upper left corner, and I'm just going to click to set my initial point. And as I drag around the edge of the pineapple shape, notice that the lasso, the Magnetic Lasso Tool, is laying down a line, and it's looking at the distinction in the pixels, and it's following along with me. If you ever see a time when it pops out of shape, you just click, and that will set an anchor point, and it will continue to follow you along. So I'm going to click there, and I accidentally popped out there, so I'm going to click there. And the Magnetic Lasso Tool is pretty accurate. Sometimes I'm not, so that's why I'm clicking. And when you get back to your original starting point, the tool will show you a small circle in the lower right corner of the icon. That means that you can now click to close this shape, and it will show you the outline that you've just created. I'm going to take this shape and actually move it over to my canvas on the left, so I'm going to choose the Move tool. Hold my cursor down inside my selection, and I'm just going to drag this over to the canvas on the left, release, and there's my shape. And the original is still on the right hand side in that file. So depending on what you're selecting, take a look at any of the selection tools and choose the one that best works for you.